the cells are everywhere on their body, so you can't identify that this is one cell.
You can't identify it.
The cells make up their body.
Your volume is very low. Your volume is very low.
Teacher, the cells make up their body, so you can't identify one cell at a time.
You can't identify one at a time. Okay, thank you, Rubega. Let me choose another person and see whether they can. I'm seeing patience.
Teacher, we can't see a cell because cells are tiny living organisms in our body, so they can't be able to be seen.
So you mean this baby has no cells that you can see?
No, they have a cell, but it can't be seen. It is in the body, not outside the body.
So that means the cells are found inside these babies, not on top.
No, the cells are the ones that make up some. Okay, a cell is a tiny thing that makes up. It's the ones that are to make up the body.
Okay. Thank you, Patience. Let me end with Desire. Desire, can you identify the cells of this plant? Okay, when I ask you to unmute and you delay, I choose another person. Okay. Chimera, let's end with Chimera. Yes, Chimera.
A cell of a plant, they are too small, which cannot be seen, but always on the same plant, which are called.
But how come we can be able to see the plant?
You can't see the cells of the plant, but when you wake up in the morning, that's why they say photosynthesis takes process at night, but in the morning find a plant when is already having that photosynthesis chlorophyll on it. That's why you can't see the cells of the plant.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that contribution. Let me end with Daniela and Gold. Well, Daniela and Gold, yes.
Cells are too small to be seen by the naked eye. You will need a microscope to see them.
Then what do you see on this plant and then this baby's skin? What do you see? Are they not cells?
Combined cells. They are combined cells, so we see a skin.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I think, yeah, I've liked that idea that you brought on. That's a very good idea. Then Miracle says, I have not understood what a cell is. Yeah, we are here to understand what a cell is. Then Davita was saying blood vessels. Okay, now I think we can continue. Let me first mute some people here who are making noise. Okay. So we can continue. Now, have you ever wondered what organisms are made of? Now, for example, you need to imagine if a house was carefully dismantled, what would you see piled up as the smallest components that were going to construct that house? Okay. If it were dismantled, and you can see here, if you can see critically, this is a wall of some house, but when you try to dismantle brick by brick, you can see that you will notice that there were bricks that were joined several times to make these different layers to form this house. Okay, and likewise, when you look at this skin, now this is a skin of a person. This is someone's skin. So organisms are made up of tiny building blocks of life that we call cells. And you can see that they are many and small. There are many and small. They make up this tissue of the skin, this layer of the skin. So it's what I want you to understand. You see, we have been used to just cramming. For example, someone comes and then he defines a cell. Like here in the message, Shadik is saying that a cell is the smallest basic functional unit of an organism which can carry out life processes. Now you can cram when you don't know what it means. But once you understand the wall that makes a house, you need some other components of sand to make this wall, okay, that builds a house. Likewise, we are made up of extremely tiny cells, that the body builds, that build up the body. There's different cells and the different tissues of our bodies, okay? I'm seeing there are some people are putting up their hands. I don't know whether you were just asking new questions or just forgot, okay? So I don't want you to just cram and then you just learn how to define. Now, we are going to see that animal and plant cells. So we are going to begin learning how we can actually observe the cells. We're going to learn how we can observe the cells. Now, observing cells are too tiny to be seen by an aided eye, okay? You can only observe cells using a microscope. You can only observe cells using a microscope. I'm still seeing in the pictures, sorry, in the message, people are trying to define. Hey, but some of you are defining using what you crammed. Hey, so for me, I want you to generate it. Okay, I want a definition, much as yes, you can cram your definition, but it must be coming from when you what you have understood. Now, a light microscope is an instrument used to observe things that are too small to be seen by the unaided eye, and it makes them appear much bigger. Now, you can see here, these are students, and they were using a microscope to see cells of these flowers. You can see these are flowers, but they are also made up of cells. These are students, they would use a microscope and then they place them on the stage and then they're able to observe. They're able to observe. I'm seeing some people are raising up their hands. Let me first see. Please, if when you finish to answer, always lower down your hand. Yes, Nachitende Michelle. You have a question? Now some of you, you raise your hand, I choose you, and you don't say anything. Yes, Reste.
Teacher.
Yes.
Excuse. Where
Please
do,
go on and ask.
where do cells come from?
Where do cells, which cells, animal cells or plant cells?
Animal cells.
Okay, let me ask our friends, and they tell us where these cells normally come from. Probably they may be knowing where cells come from. Thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. Let me choose. Yes, Vani. Vani, you've had the question. Vani?
No, I just wanted
Let us
to define what cells are. Hello?
Okay, let me choose another person. Yes, Opoi. Opoi, you had the question.
No, I wanted to give the definition of a cell.
No, first answer what you first answer the question which is on the ground. Where do cells come from? What do you think?
Cells come from bone marrows.
They come from bone marrows. Okay. Thank you. Let me choose another person. Yes, Elvis.
I think cells are genetic. Cells are made by our body, and they keep on forming due to binary fission.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Cells are made by our bodies. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Singoma Emma. When I ask you to unmute, you please unmute very fast. If you delay, I always choose another person.
Yes, teacher. Yes.
Yes, where do cells come from?
By cell division.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you've heard where cells come from. They are made by our bodies. So on a daily basis, you lose cells. Some of your cells actually die on a daily basis from your skin, from your intestines, from they are made by our bodies. Okay, they are made by our bodies. Yes, Lubega, you have a question? Please, when you finish answering and you have nothing, you should lower down your hand if you have nothing to say. Okay, let me first mute this one. Yes, Ruth Namakula.
Cells are produced in our body by the process called mitosis, which results into the reproduction of daughter cells,
I was also
hence leading to the
saying where the cells come from.
Okay, thank you very much, Ruth Namakula. That is also a very good answer, that they are made by our bodies by a process called mitosis. Now, what you must know is that some of these concepts are for senior 3, for example, what Ruth has just talked about, mitosis. Now, mitosis and how these cells divide to form a new or daughter cells, that process is studied in senior 3 and senior 4. So I cannot explain it now because it will confuse some people. Yes, Tessa Zanita.
teacher. I think some cells, like the white blood cells, can be made in the lymph nodes of our bodies.
Okay, you are saying that they can be made in the lymph nodes. What do you mean by the lymph nodes? Okay. Thank you for that. Let me read here in the chat box. Olum says they are made by bone marrows. Yeah, there are some cells which are born in the bone marrows. That is also true. There are some cells that can be produced by the bone marrows. And it is also true, your body can produce cells by a process called mitosis. That is also true. That's where cells come from. Maybe if you wanted to ask how did the cell arise? What was the first cell? Now that is something which you can discuss another time. So we normally discuss that. There's a topic called evolution where we normally discuss that. Okay. Now we can have a general overview now, for now, as far as cells are concerned. So the cell is that basic unit of an organism. Okay. Just the basic building block of life. All those cells are the ones that normally even carry out the life processes. And all living organisms are made up of cells. There is no living organism that is not made up of cells. Okay, so all living organisms are made up of cells, and some organisms are just made up of just one cell, and such organisms are called unicellular. Okay, but others are made up of many cells, and such cells are called multicellular. You see that? Multicellular. Those are, for example, you can see this girl and this boy. These are multicellular organisms, this boy and the girl, because they are made up of trillions of cells that make up their body. Okay. Then other organisms are made up of many cells and are called, of course, multicellular. Cells are too little or too small to be seen by the naked eye, and that's why we need a microscope. You need a microscope to be able to see the cells very well. Okay. You need a microscope in order to see it well. Then they can only be seen with the aid of a microscope, and that's why we normally have microscopes as one of the tools which we use in the lab. Okay, to see the different cells, whether it is a plant cell or the animal cell. Now, activity 1, what we normally use. It is very unfortunate that we would do actually this practically, but we're on Zoom. So, but in simple terms, we are going to understand and we shall try to relate. Activity 2, because we're in chapter 2, we are trying to view an animal cell. And the key question is, what is found inside an animal cell? Have you ever thought of, yes, just like bricks, bricks that build a wall, we also have cells. But what is found inside our cells, the animal cell? What is found there? So what we need, first of all, are prepared slides of an animal cell. Now, these prepared slides of the animal cell are sold in some shops. There are some chemical shops that sell laboratory equipments. They can be able to sell these prepared slides. Alternatively, as teachers, we can also prepare certain slides. Husna says that I am very fast. Really? Am I moving very, very fast? Okay, I'm going to reduce the speed. Then Patience says that cells come from already existing cells by a process called of cell division. That is very true, Patience. Then George is saying nucleus. Then Jenna is calling me. I don't know why. Then teacher, can you please show the previous slide? I don't know why you guys want me to show this previous slide. Were you like copying or doing something? Because these notes, we share them in Google Classroom. So when we are learning here, we don't expect you to be copying notes, okay? We don't expect you to be copying. Okay, let me first get a question from Jenna. Yes, Jenna?
Yeah, the definition of cells. Like for me, the one that I know, it's the smallest basic unit of life.
Is it different from what we have discussed?
Yes.
How different is it?
So your definition is missing smallest, because like I said, it's very small and you can't see it very well. But this one, the definition as I'm seeing here, is the cell is a basic unit of an organism. Like in between the and basic, you can put the smallest.
Okay, like when I talk of something basic, do you understand the meaning of the word basic?
Yes.
What does it mean?
So I can't phrase it very well, but I know what it means though. I can't like phrase it very well.
Okay, you phrase it in your own understanding so that we can see whether it will match.
Okay.
Mm. I tell you have gone. You tell us, what do you
Yeah.
understand by basic?
I can't phrase it very well. Like basic, like let's say those ones that are so essential, like to anyone.
Okay. Okay, do you understand it in your local language?
So I don't understand the local language.
You don't know any local language?
I don't know it.
Okay, so you only know English. Okay.
Yes.
Let us get another person. Viking. Yes, Viking. What do you have to say?
I just wanted to explain the meaning of basic in my own way.
Yes, please go on.
Uh, when I look at the word basic, it's like the first stage of something.
Okay, yeah. Mm.
Uh, when I say that we are dancing, let us start
Mm.
with the basic, the first stage. That's what I
Very good.
understand.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you very much, Viking. So the starting, like when you say the basic unit, I don't know whether you also get the meaning of the word unit. That's why, with this definition, by the way, that's the challenge with when we try to cram something. When you try to cram something and you've not understood it, um, you tend to derail from the gist of what the thing means. And that's why we're building right from using a wall. You get it? Now, what are the units that make up the wall? What are those basic units that make up this wall? You get it? It's going to be these bricks. It's just a single brick. Or the bricks, the units that make up this tissue of this skin. You get it? So we need to understand clearly what everything means, and let us not just cram. Okay. Um, okay. So let us continue. We're still saying that they cannot be seen, but we can use the microscope. And here we're saying that prepared slides can be sold in shops. And as a teacher, I can also prepare one. Okay. And the prepared slide may come when it has something like this. These are animal cells, and probably they are cheek cells. In Uganda, it's amatama. These cheeks which are on your face. The cheeks. I'm assuming if this is you, this is your head. Okay, and then your eyes are here, your nose, and then the mouth. Now the cheek is this one. That's the cheek. Now, how do we extract these cells from your cheek? We get a swab. A swab is some kind of a small stick. Sometimes it could have some cotton windings on one side. I don't know whether you've seen that small stick which they use when they're testing for COVID, which they put in someone's nose. Okay, that is a swab. Now you can get that small stick, uh, a swab, and then you put it inside your mouth and you rub inside along your cheek, inside the cheek. You just have to rub gently. Don't use force that you want to remove cells from there, but you rub gently, small. Then cells will automatically will stick from your cheek onto the swab. Now you can now put those um, those cells on this slide, microscope slide, just here, and then you can place that small glass which we call a glass slide. So the sample is going to be in between the glass slide and the glass slip. And now you can put that on the stage of a microscope and then you can clip it there. you can see that there is some purple stuff on this slide. Normally we add stains. There are some stains that we add to cells so that they can be clear, because some can be transparent. So that's why we add that stain on it. And then you are able to see very well. And these are the cells that you are able to see. Okay. Now, if you are to compare it with an egg, you crush an egg and then place it somewhere like in this bowel, glass bowel. Of course, it has layers, as we shall see. It has those layers. Now, my question is going to be, you're going to observe the raw egg in a dish, like you can see here. Identify the different layers. How many layers are you able to see there? Elvin says, why is it that when some people smile, their cheeks tend to have a whole like structure? Elvin is talking about the dimple. He's talking about the dimple. Why do some people? But now that question is not concerning this. That question is concerning the anatomy of our muscles. So there are some muscles that those people be lacking. It's like a deformity. But of course, it's some kind of a deformity because they are lacking a certain muscle. But of course, it makes some people look good. So it has no problem. Let me choose someone. How many layers are you able to see? Okay, yes, patience. Here, if I can call this A.
I see 2 layers.
2 layers. Okay. By the way, if you have a pen and book,
Hello?
you can try to draw.
Yeah,
and
2 layers.
See. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Patience. You can be able to see this outer layer.
Okay.
And then this other layer. Ruth says you are seeing 3 layers. I don't know if you could try to explain to us the 3 layers that you are seeing. George says 2 layers. Okay. Okay, Miracle says 2 layers. And then Ryan. Okay, let me choose someone here. Yes, Ryan. Yes, Ryan. Okay, let me get Swabra. Yes, Swabra.
So I'm seeing the white layer.
You're only seeing 1 layer. Okay. So I think, and then how many layers are you able to distinguish? And then what is the relative position of the layers you have seen? What is the relative position of the layers that you have seen from that? Okay, I'm seeing Patronella. Yes, Patronella.
I see first layer is in the middle position, first position, and third position.
Wait, the middle layer is in those 3 positions?
Oh, no. Only the yolk is in the middle position. Then the egg white is in the second position. Oh my God, I'm confused.
Okay, thank you for the trial. Thank you for the trial. Yes, Rema.
What? You're not going to do that one. Let's move away. Okay. I'm having a look.
So I think you can see here now. Yes.
The egg has 3 layers, as I can see.
It has 3 layers. Well, that picture is kind of confusing you. Let me use this here. How many layers apart from the bowel? But I think you guys have ever seen eggs. You've even ever eaten. When you've crushed an egg and before you begin splashing it up, how many layers do you normally see?
3.
You normally see 3? Okay. Okay. I think good enough. We have all. I don't want you to consider this shell, but you will normally see actually 2 layers. You normally see 2 layers in an egg, and if you can compare picture A and picture B, okay, record the information from 1 and 2 above in the table. You will use it later. Then, secondly, the second question says, observe the prepared slide of an animal cell. Here you ask me, the teacher, to help you, and I've already explained to you how we come to get these prepared slides. Then now compare the observation of the prepared slide with the raw egg. Now you could have a raw egg in this table and then the animal in this table. And the number of layers of the raw egg. So we're also going to look at the size of the layers and position of the layers. And you can be able to see this is picture A and picture B. So this is a prepared slide.
That's why
let me choose. Let me choose Mercy. Yes, Mercy.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, can you compare how many layers does A have and how many layers does B have?
Picture A has 2 layers and picture B has 3 layers.
Picture B, where is the 3rd layer here? Just consider one cell. Just consider only one cell. Okay? Don't consider 3 cells. Okay, thank you. What about the size?
The size. Picture B has the size is small compared to picture A. Picture A.
Okay. That is actually very true. And the middle layer, you can see that it is almost in the center. It is almost in the center or in the middle. You can call it middle or center. I think you can be able to see such differences. So position, you find that the first layer is in the center, and then the size, the raw egg has a bigger size. So this is gonna be bigger, and then this is gonna be smaller, size smaller. And then number of layers, this one has 2, this one also has 2. Position, so you find that the middle layer is in the center, and then even this one is in the center. So those are very much similar. So the central part of the animal cell is called the nucleus. That is the middle part. And the fluid part surrounding the nucleus is called the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm. Okay. This is the cytoplasm in this case, and then this is the nucleus. If I can, let me write the word here. This would be the nucleus. By the way, for some of you who didn't know, the egg is the largest cell on Earth. The egg, a G, the egg, it's a cell actually, and this would be like the cytoplasm. That is when you are comparing. Okay, this would be the cytoplasm of the cell, and this would be the nucleus, and then this would be cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. And then the outer layer, this one is cell membrane. And membrane just means just cell membrane. The cell membrane, even if you get to consider that. So those are the three basic parts of what a cell, an animal cell has. But of course, there are some other tiny, what we call tiny organelles, tiny parts, which can be inside the animal cell. And we shall look at them. Then question 4 says, draw and label the parts of the animal cell you have viewed under. So what you find that when they tell you to draw, let me get a black pen here. You just need to draw actually a cell membrane, and then you also draw the nucleus. Okay, and then you show the cytoplasm like that. You show the cytoplasm. Of course, the cytoplasm just looks like it's jelly-like. Like jelly means like Vaseline-like, or it's like Enigida or Bizigo. So this would be the nucleus. Some people shade, but in biology we do not normally shade. Let me choose some people asking questions here. Yes, Mwanguzi. When I ask you to unmute, you unmute very fast and you ask your question. Okay, he has failed. Desire Daisy. Okay, yes, Prodi. Okay, some of you put up your hands and then I choose you, you just keep quiet. It's better you don't put up your hand. Yes, Daniela.
Teacher, I didn't understand the relative. I didn't understand the relative position of the layers.
Position just means the precise location where they are. You see that? For example, the first layer is going to be in the center or in the middle. Okay. And then you have the other layer is at the peripheral, is on the side. Is on the side.
Thank you, teacher. I've understood.
You're welcome. And then Jotham.
Yes, sir.
Please ask your question.
No, I forgot to lower my hand. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. And then Dikini.
So, teacher, how sure are you that there are not three layers? Because if, like, when you boil an egg, there is that other thing. When you remove the shell, there's that other thing, like as if it's protecting. Apart from the shell, not the shell itself. There's something after the shell. And it's not the fluid. You're getting me, teacher?
Yes, so I'm getting you.
When you boil an egg, and then you carefully remove only the shell, you can end up finding that white thing. It's like a pepper. Yeah. So doesn't that make them 3 layers?
Okay, thank you for that observation, Patronella. What do you think, other people? Let me first discuss with these other people and they tell us whether what they think. What do they think about it? Anyone to go for that observation?
Yeah, me.
I'm seeing. Okay, yes. Please tell us.
Is she meaning the other cell, the one that's like the one that cracked but in a dish? Yeah, what she saw was a shot, was like around the, like, let's say the background where they took the gondi from, where they took the picture of the egg from. That's not a layer. It's
I'm
like a
sorry, but
reflection. It's like a
that's not what
reflection. It's
I
like
was.
a circle.
That's not what
Which
I
one?
was talking about.
Which one?
I said when you boil an egg, there is something like a pepper when you remove the shell carefully.
That
Okay.
one.
Yeah. So I was saying, doesn't that make them three? Because you boil, then there is a yolk, the egg white. Then if you remove the egg shell carefully, there's that kind of thing like a pepper.
It's part of that. It's part of the eggshell.
Okay. Thank you for that deliberation. But maybe to harmonize, you find that let's try to harmonize Patronella's answer. Now, this is egg. Okay. You've cracked it, and then when it is raw, I'm saying when it is raw, you'll find that it has that jelly-like structure, which is egg white, and then this yellow structure, which is the yolk. Okay, but when it is a boiled egg, when you crack it, there's some small membrane, and I want you to get it like this. This egg white, the moment you actually boil it or you increase temperature, it is going to solidify. It's going to solidify. You get it?
Yeah.
So on top, that's what makes those 3 layers of the animal cell. Imagine this is the animal cell. We're saying this is the nucleus, the first layer. Now this one, there is no way how, for example, if this was egg white, okay, let me write here the word egg white. Egg white. There is no, when it solidifies, of course that membrane is going to now appear. You will see it, but you can't see it clearly when it is raw. Now, the action of using this egg is to visualize how the cell is, but not actually to show you the exact structure of the cell. We are visualizing how it is actually is. You get it? So it is after this egg white solidifying that you can now see that clear membrane over there. And it is true that membrane is raised, but you can't see it because when you put protein, these are proteins. When you raise temperatures of proteins, they denature and they change form. Okay.
No.
I don't know whether I'm making some sense.
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah. So I think that is very clear. And then in summary, these 3 structures of a simple animal cell include the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and then the cell membrane. But of course, you can see these small dots. These could be some other organelles like the mitochondria. Mitochondrion. Now, this one is the one that makes energy for the cell. Now, the cell membrane is just an outer thin layer that protects the inner parts of the cell. The cytoplasm, this is where metabolic processes or life processes are going to occur within a cell. And the nucleus is the one which is going to be controlling all the activities within the cell. This is where they are controlled. Unless you have any other question, yes, please.
But there's another part of a cell, but it's called a cell. It's called a cell wall. How come you're not mentioning it?
Thank you for that question. Now, animal cells don't have a cell wall, unfortunately. It is only plant cells that have a cell wall. And we shall see what a cell wall does when we have reached the plant cell. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we shall look at it. Okay, let me choose some few people. Yes, Diana.
So, what about the glycogen granule?
Okay, thank you for that comment, Diana. Yeah, it should be noted that not all parts that we study, that each type of cell will have it. That's not true. There are some parts of a cell that are only found in certain particular cells. Now, glycogen granules, those are, you see, when there are excess sugars in someone's body, what happens is that excess sugar is converted into glycogen, and it is like one way of storing sugar by storing it into glycogen. So some cells, especially some maybe in the liver and some others, you may find the glycogen granules. You get it? And this is one way of how the cell stores energy, sugars. Yes, Janet?
Teacher, what about the vacuole? Teacher.
Okay. Yes.
What about the vacuole?
Okay, thank you, Joy. Now, what you guys must know that I've told you that not all parts are found in every cell. Not all. So it is for the case of the animal cells, the vacuoles are not always present. In some cells, they come temporarily and then they disappear. Okay. But in the plant cell, they are always there. So the vacuoles are always there in the plant cell. But in the animal cells, sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not there, depending on the type of cell.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So I think it is time we can end here. Bye-bye and enjoy yourselves.
Bye, teacher. Thanks for the lesson.
You're welcome.
The teacher said, you're welcome.